Hello, good evening. This is Jason Pro for the Groundwater Advisory Committee. I call to order the July 14th, 2020 meeting of Groundwater Advisory Committee. Before we proceed, I have some preliminary information to work through. This is an open meeting of Groundwater Advisory Committee being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order is posted at the top of our agenda for this evening and allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. Unless participation is required by law, this meeting will not feature public comment. This meeting is being live streamed over YouTube and will be recorded for later broadcast on cable access or accessible from YouTube for video replay. It's being conducted by using the Zoom application. Just remind folks who are the participants in the meeting that you are typically, for most part, on video display. You are being recorded. Anything you say or do will be recorded. Just be aware of that. You may wish to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to prevent any intrusive noise from coming in on the meeting. In terms of ground rules for conducting the meeting, I, as the chair, will introduce the speakers after they conclude their remarks and the presentation is complete by the applicant. We'll go through each of the members of the board to ask for their comments or questions. Remind all the members to please conduct your inquiries through the chair and wait to be acknowledged before proceeding with your question. Because we have a couple of members who are not on video display this evening, I guess what I will do is go through the members in order to poll them so that we're not trying to do a show of hands when 2 of our 5 members can't show a hand. And I think that pretty much covers most of that. Because this is a remote meeting, we will be conducting any votes by roll call. So I think that completes that. To just let people know who's on the meeting for the moment, we have the 5 members of the Groundwater Advisory Committee, myself, Jason Perot. I'll call each of the members and you could please acknowledge by voice. Amy Paretsky.
Here.
Teresa Capobianco.
Here.
Brian Furman.
Here.
And Diane Goldner.
Here.
Diane and Bryant are the 2 members who don't have video support this evening. In addition, we have Town Engineer Fred Litchfield, our staff associate.
Here.
We have, not through video connection, but participating in the meeting, the Zoom meeting, we have David Kane, our Director of MISGIS, Assistant Director, MISGIS, John Sabatini, and Melanie Rich, who is taking our notes and recording our minutes for us. Ask each person participating, when you are speaking, please speak in a clear manner that makes it easy for us to record the meeting minutes. With that, I think we're ready to proceed. And so the item on the agenda, to consider the petition of New England FC for site plan approval and a special permit per Groundwater Protection Overlay District to construct an indoor and outdoor soccer facility with supporting office space at 400 Cedar Hill Street, map 67, parcel 4, in the industrial district and located within Groundwater Protection Overlay District Area 3. The applicant is New England FC. Representative is Richard Riccio III, professional engineer. First, Fred, I'll go to you. Could you please just kind of set the table for us a little bit?
Sure, Jason, thank you. The meeting tonight is in regard to the indoor-outdoor soccer facility that's proposed at 400 Cedar Hill Street. Originally, this applicant had filed with the planning board under the Dover Amendment, which eliminated the need for them to appear before the Groundwater Advisory Committee. I did a review of their plan with the contents of the groundwater section of the bylaw taken into consideration. The applicant then decided to pursue the special permit and not pursue the Dover Amendment for this application. And so I'll let Mr. Riccio give you a little more background on maybe why they did that and where they're at in their process. And then once he finishes his presentation, I'd be happy to review my review memo, which I sent to all of you today, outlining some additional information that Mr. Riccio provided to me today to complete the application process. Some things were missing. And then there's the review memo that I did originally for the planning board on June 8th, I believe. And then my review memo of the project as submitted for tonight's meeting. So I turn it back to you, Jason, to have Mr. Riccio make a presentation indicating the plans and the location.
Great. Thank you very much, Fred. Mr. Riccio, would you like to proceed?
Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Rich Riccio from Field Engineering on behalf of NEFC. I don't know, do I have the ability to share my screen with the plan, or?
Should be able to.
Believe you should be able to, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the site we're looking at. This is at the corner of Cedar Hill Street and Bartlett Street, an existing vacant lot. The applicant is proposing to construct an outdoor turf soccer field and an indoor soccer field with associated office space and meeting space for their soccer club, which is a not-for-profit youth soccer organization. This is going to be their home base for training and performing club activities. The site, as you can see on the plan, is serviced by 2 curb cuts. It's approximately 130 parking spaces on the property. The paved surfaces will flow through a stormwater management system, which consists of a water quality inlet sized in accordance with the DEP standards to an infiltration basin. There's 2 infiltration basins. The front portion of the parking will go to the smaller basin here, and this side portion of the parking will go to a larger basin in the back. We're also proposing to recharge all of the roof drainage from the building into this large basin back here. The artificial turf field has a crushed stone bed underneath it, which will accept the runoff that hits the field. The field itself is a very porous material, so all the water that hits that turf would flow through. There's a sand base, then into a crushed stone bed. The building itself will be serviced by existing sewer available in Bartlett Street. The applicant will be extending sewer up the frontage of the property to tie the bathrooms into the municipal sewer, so there'll be no subsurface septic system on the property. With regards to some of the requirements of the groundwater protection district, there's no proposed hazardous chemicals or anything on the property itself, just typical household cleaning materials to clean the offices and the small bathrooms would be used. No subsurface tanks proposed on the site for any storage purposes at all. I did submit information with regards to the volume runoff calculations from the site to indicate that there's no increase in the rate or the volume of runoff leaving the facility. Like I had mentioned, all the impervious surfaces are flowing through one of 2 infiltration basins. The soils on the site were actually were quite pervious and would accept that water. Separation to groundwater under the basins at the shallowest point is still over 5 feet of separation, and that's in the smaller basin here. The project has been reviewed and approved by the Conservation Commission through an order of conditions, which covered the operation and maintenance of the stormwater management system, as well as the outdoor turf field. And as the town engineer mentioned, we had originally filed this to the planning board as a straight site plan review approval, as the use could be considered a educational use through what's called the Dover Amendment, which more or less exempts religious, educational, and other uses from requirements of special permits and variances and such. But during that process, just to fill everybody in, we were told, and we learned that town meeting is looking at approving the indoor recreational use as an allowed use by right in this district. So we have, rather than continue the discussion on the Dover Amendment at this time, we have resubmitted to the planning board as a special permit through the groundwater overlay district, as well as for the outdoor field. We going back to the planning board on the 21st to discuss further discuss the project. As of the last meeting with the planning board, they were pretty much satisfied with the site plans themselves and the details of the site plans, and we were really just talking more about whether or not the plans, the site itself qualified for the Dover Amendment or not. With that, I welcome any questions from the board, and the town engineer, if he has any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Riccio. I guess just for my understanding, and I'm not sure who here knows the answer to this, we do have a zoning bylaw coming up at this town meeting, but what I'm wondering about is the timing of that. Is that a circumstance where the bylaw would pass and then this upcoming meeting of the planning board on the 21st would be able to make the approval under that newly established bylaw?
That's the intent of the process we're going through now, and our attorney has advised us that can happen at the planning board level. Obviously, the building permits wouldn't be able to be issued until the bylaw is ratified and approved by the Attorney General, I assume. Just a note that the building commissioner did agree with us that it did qualify under the Dover Amendment, but it was more of just some of the additional information that the club would need to present to show that, which they could do, but with the timing of the town meeting coming up and everything, it just seemed like a smoother path to go this route.
I see. Yeah. Okay. I think any more information, or Fred, do you have anything to add?
No, I can review my letter if you like, or we can go right to the board questions. I know you all have the letter. There's a lot of information in there. The letter from me from today, the letter from Rich Riccio from today, and the letter from me to the planning board last month. So I can review them, or we can go right to questions, whichever you prefer.
I think I'll go first for questions and see what the board members would like to do.
Okay.
I'll start with our off video members. Bryant Furman, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I looked everything over. It seemed pretty straightforward to me. I don't see any big issues.
Okay.
And I
Thank you.
think Fred's letter is the typical things we want to see. So I'm happy.
Thank you, Brian. Diane?
I have no questions either.
Okay. Amy?
Yeah, I've listened to it through conservation and planning, so I've heard most of it. But I actually thought of one thing just when I looked at this picture. It's more for Fred probably, or even the engineer can answer. When I look at the back at the drainage, will that empty right out? That wouldn't be like a pool that collects water, would it? I'm only thinking because of children. If that fills up with water, I'm not sure how deep it would be, if it would need a fence or anything around it. Or does that drain right into the ground? Will it stay empty? On the colored drawing, it makes it look like it's almost like a pool.
Yeah, those ponds have been sized and to drain dry within 72 hours. They're only 2 to 3 feet max in height at the time, like during the peak of the storm, and then within 72 hours they would drain dry. That's a requirement of the Massachusetts stormwater standards for infiltration basins.
Are there,
And that area.
Go ahead, Amy.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, you probably were just going to answer. Does that area, is it all fenced off and back? I think I remember. Like, so children couldn't.
Back.
Be,
I think basically, is there any fencing or other protective measures around these basins, because these essentially are going to be kids of whatever age on the playing field and presumably would stroll over to a cool pond looking area to cool off, so
Or
just
like
wondering about the
Um,
safety
if that
concern.
would-
or maybe like a sibling that
That
could
was-
wander off during a game, like a little child.
If the board, there is not anything presently proposed for a fence around the field, around those ponds. Like I said, they have they will drain within 72 hours. They do have accessible ramps in and out of them for maintenance purposes. But if the board feels more comfortable with some sort of barrier around them, that's something we could consider, but it was not part of the proposal.
I mean, it's
Jason?
Amy, it's probably more of a planning board site plan
Right.
approval concern than a groundwater, but yeah.
I just wanted to see how fast they drained, yeah, and how deep they were.
Jason, I'd just like to add a couple of points. I want to reiterate what Rich said about them draining within 72 hours after a storm. That is the regulation requirement. That is the way they're designed. So most of the time they won't have any water in them. The other issue, and then we can talk about it more at the planning board level regarding fences, is it's kind of a catch-22. Fences actually keep the adults out more likely than it keeps the children out. And the adults are the ones who have to go in after the children if they, for some reason, get in there and they're stuck. So it's not something that we generally require. It's just seems problematic in a rescue situation. If you needed to get in there and get a kid out, it's harder for the adults to get in. The kids always seem to find a way.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Good point. Good point of clarification. Amy, anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Teresa?
Thanks, Jason. No, my only question is really for Fred to let us know, is there anything remaining outstanding that causes you concern from the groundwater perspective?
Jason, through you. No,
Sure.
actually, I believe that Rich and I had a conversation earlier today about some things that were missing in the application, and everything he submitted today verified the requirements. The thing that we usually look for is that items 1 through 5 under section D of the bylaw when anybody's applying for a special permit, the list of chemicals, the statement by a qualified expert, no hazard to the groundwater, all of those things were provided. It's a simple impervious cover calculation that's required in the section of the bylaw that he's applied for the special permit under. The site was vacant wooded. And so because he's recharging all of the rooftop and the area coming from the fields into those infiltration basins, he easily meets that impervious cover calculation, as well as the no hazardous chemicals to be stored on site. I, in my letter, indicated that they shouldn't stockpile any sand or salt. The building should be heated by natural gas if possible. I believe that Rich said that that was their plan. You see that they're connecting
Correct.
to town sewer. It seems like they've checked all the boxes, in my opinion, as far as the groundwater bylaw goes.
Thank you, Frank. Anything more, Teresa?
No, thank you.
Okay, I just have a couple of questions. The left entrance has two arrows coming in. Is that actually supposed to be bi-directional?
No, we actually, our original plan had an in and out in both entrances.
Yeah.
But we did, we narrowed that to be an entrance only. Just during our deliberations with the planning board and through the design review committee, we didn't want to introduce traffic onto Cedar Hill Street that close to the intersection
see.
with Bartlett. So we're funneling everybody, all the exiting traffic as far away from that intersection as we can.
I see. Excellent. Thank you. A second question. This sounds stupid to me because I've had kids playing on turf fields for forever. Is there any kind of cleaning that takes place for either indoor or outdoor, and what kind of chemicals or residue might come from that?
No, not that, nothing out of the ordinary other than water. And they do groom the fields with a brush to rejuvenate it when it, like, you know, it flattens out and things to that effect. But nothing, there'd be no types of cleaning chemicals or hazardous stuff that would be placed on the field. I know in a lot of these, they don't even allow, you know, like Gatorade and stuff on the field. It's just water. I've seen the signs in some of these facilities, so they're pretty conscientious with that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I don't think I have any further questions. I'm just going to run down the members one more time just to double check. Bryant,
Fine with me.
Diane,
No,
Amy,
All set, thanks.
Teresa.
Nothing further, thank you.
Okay, I have no further questions. I guess at this point, Fred, would you like to go through your letter and the conditions?
Sure. What I would like to do is just review the memo that I prepared today as a result of the information that Rich had submitted, because that basically just confirms everything that was required in the bylaw. So the things I have in the list that I'd like to see put into any approval would be that a minimum of 2 permeability tests be performed when the area to be utilized for each of the infiltration areas to verify all the assumptions that were made on the absorption of the soil underneath the basin. The building should be heated by natural gas. So if there's an objection to that, we should talk about it now. That no road salt or sand should be stockpiled on the site, that they would have somebody come in and use as little as possible on a storm by storm basis. At the end of the process, when the building is getting ready to be occupied, there's usually an as-built plan. That's number 6. And there's a stormwater operation and maintenance plan. I know that Rich indicated that there was one provided for the Conservation Commission. I did not see it in the application, and so I would like to get a chance to review that and make sure that it meets everything we would want and have it either made part of any approval, or at least get a chance to view that and confirm that it does. Then also at the end, when the as-built plan is submitted, that we'd also get along with that a completed operation and maintenance inspection report, so that whoever takes over ownership of the building after it's built and Rich is no longer involved, or there's no engineer involved in the post use of the property, that they have a template to go by as to what to look for, as that is required to be submitted on an annual basis. And then the last thing that's in the letter is that if there are any changes to plan throughout this process or the planning board approval process, that after the project is approved, if it is, then they would be required to submit a plan showing all of the changes that were required through the review process shown on the plan, that they would be reviewed by me to confirm that everything was done, and then they could go and get their building permit after that was all confirmed. And then in the end, with the as-built drawing, we have taken to requesting that the as-built drawing preparer also indicate on the plan a list of any changes that were implemented in the field, as there are sometimes minor changes in the field. If they're major changes, they're supposed to request permission to consider it insignificant so that it doesn't require going back to the board. But there are oftentimes minor changes, and if they're pointed out onto the as-built plan, it makes the review process a little bit easier for me. And that's just my selfish pitch.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Fred.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns by committee members? And if you do have anything, just speak up and say here, and I'll come to you. Hearing none. Do I have a motion to recommend approval subject to the town engineer's specified conditions?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. It's a roll call vote. I'll go in order. Bryant,
Aye.
Diane,
Approve.
Amy,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Carries unanimously to recommend approval.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much, Mr. Riccio.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good luck with the planning board. Yep.
Thank you.
We actually need good luck at town meeting too.
Well, which
We
is
need-
shaping up to be a warm day, as it turns out. So, next item of business is review and approve minutes of March 10th, 2020. You have a copy of the minutes that we received in our packets from Fred. The March 10 minutes, I think, has a correction for some items that Bryant noted and a correction that Amy requested for part of the discussion that went on. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I make one comment on that set of
certainly.
minutes?
Yep.
On page 2, paragraph 2, it says, it references a load to the collection system of 20,000 square feet. I think we should have from 20,000 square feet. We're not going to put 20,000 square feet into the sewer. Halfway down that second paragraph.
Yep. Mr. Robinson asked if they should confirm that the proposed design is suitable to take an additional load of 20,000 square feet.
Right. We're not going to put 27,000 square feet into it. We're
I
gonna
think
put wastewater from it.
I think he may have meant 20,000 gallons,
Right. Okay.
because 20,000 gallons is probably appropriate discharge for the size of the building that they were proposing. It was 150 something thousand square feet, but it's a warehouse, so there was a minimum. I can verify that, but I believe it was gallons, not square feet.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
That would make more sense. Yes. Thank you, Brian.
I just
Anything
question
else?
I just
Yes,
have a
Amy?
question. Just on mine, and it's just one word, and I wanted to ask Melanie. There was one sentence where it says our wells are backed up to the MWRA, and I'm pretty sure I said backup. You know, it might have sounded like I said backed up, which sounds like they're touching. I definitely have never thought that, so I wouldn't say backed up. I said backup.
Where is that, Amy?
I'm going to open it up. It says, Ms. Paretsky said there was a lot of talk that our wells are going offline. And then the second sentence, after it talks about the MVP meeting and our wells are backed up to the MWRA, I'm pretty sure it said backup, not backed up. So instead of the ED, I just wanted to
Yes, I agree. Yes. Our wells are backup for our primary MWRA source. So the word backed, B-A-C-K-E-D, should be back, B-A-C-K, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. Anything else?
No.
Hearing none, this is a roll call vote. And the motion, I'll take the motion to be motion to approve minutes as very recently amended. Bryant,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Minutes approved as amended. Next item is the approval of the June 24, 2020 meeting minutes. Again, you have a copy in your packets. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Bryant? You're muted, Bryant.
Aye.
Diane?
I can't vote. I wasn't there.
Abstain for Diane. Yep.
Stay.
Amy?
Aye.
Teresa?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So that carries 4 in favor and 1 abstention. And that brings us to next meeting date of August 11th, 2020, if necessary. That would be our normally reserved time slot for groundwater advisory. Anybody have any issues or vacations or anything like that that might interfere? Hearing none. So Fred, I guess should matters arise, August 11th is good to go.
Thank you. Right now, I'm not aware of anything, but like I said last month, it's so much easier if we just keep it on the calendar in case one comes up
Right.
that does require your attention. So thank you.
Okay, very good. There's nothing further, Fred?
No, not from my end.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Once again, a roll call vote. Bryant,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Teresa,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So carries unanimously. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, David and John and Melanie.
Thank you all.
Bye.
See you on Saturday.
Yes. Bring a cold drink.
Mhm.